First contact and underestimation. The anomaly appeared on the long-range scanners of the ESV Resilient without warning. Commander Maya Kwan squinted at the holographic display, her dark eyes reflecting the blue glow of the projection. What had begun as a routine patrol of the Kuiper Belt had just become something else entirely. "Analysis, Lieutenant Chen?" she asked, her voice measured despite the sudden tension filling the bridge. Lieutenant James Chen, the ship's sensor specialist, worked his console with practiced efficiency. "Energy signatures unlike anything in our database, Commander. Size estimates suggest vessels approximately 8 to 10 times larger than the Resilient. 7 distinct signatures, approaching from beyond Neptune's orbit." Maya nodded slowly. Humanity had expanded throughout the solar system in the decades since the first Mars colony, establishing outposts as far as the moons of Neptune. Yet despite numerous unmanned probes sent to nearby star systems, they had never encountered another spacefaring species. Until now. "All stations, yellow alert," she ordered. "Lieutenant Rogers, establish a communications link with Earth Command. Priority Alpha." As the crew moved with practiced precision, Maya studied the tactical display. The Resilient was one of Earth's newest vessels, a medium-sized exploration and defense craft with a crew of 83. While equipped with respectable armaments, it was designed primarily for research and first contact scenarios. "Commander," Chen called out, "the vessels are accelerating. Estimated intercept in 6 hours." Maya's second-in-command, Executive Officer Rafael Torres, moved to her side. "First contact protocol." "Absolutely," Maya replied. "But I want defensive systems at full readiness. Let's be friendly and cautious." 5 hours later, the bridge crew watched in stunned silence as the alien vessels came into visual range. The ships resembled massive elongated hexagons, their hulls gleaming with a silvery blue metallic sheen that seemed to shift colors as they moved. Intricate patterns of light pulsed along their surface, and what appeared to be weapons arrays dotted their hulls at regular intervals. "They're beautiful," breathed Dr. Eliza Okafor, the Resilient's sinolinguist. "And heavily armed," Torres added quietly. "Open communications on all standard frequencies," Maya ordered. "Transmit first contact package Alpha." Dr. Okafor worked quickly, sending the carefully designed message containing mathematical sequences, basic human language samples, and peaceful imagery that Earth's finest minds had prepared for this very moment. For 30 tense minutes, there was no response. Then the main view screen flickered to life. The alien that appeared had a humanoid shape, but with distinctive differences that marked it as utterly non-human. Its skin was pale blue and seemingly metallic, with intricate patterns reminiscent of circuit boards visible beneath the surface. 6 dark eyes arranged in a hexagonal pattern dominated its face, and what might have been a mouth opened in a way that suggested flexible metal rather than flesh. "Unidentified vessel," the alien spoke, its voice translated through the ship's computer with a metallic timbre. "You have entered space claimed by the hegemony of the infinite suns. Identify your species, planetary origin, and technological capabilities immediately." Maya stepped forward. "I am Commander Maya Kwan of the Earth space vessel Resilient. We represent humanity from the planet Earth. We welcome peaceful contact and wish to establish diplomatic relations." The alien's 6 eyes blinked in an unsettling sequential pattern. "Scanning indicates primitive propulsion and defensive technologies. Your vessel is barely worthy of classification as a proper spacecraft." A pause. "I am Sub-Commander Zelthrix of the Hegemony Expansion Fleet. Your solar system is now designated for integration into the Hegemony. Prepare to receive boarding parties for preliminary assessment." Maya maintained her composure. "With respect, Sub-Commander, we haven't agreed to any integration. We would prefer to establish diplomatic talks first." "Preference is irrelevant," Zelthrix interrupted. "The Hegemony has incorporated 47 stellar civilizations. Most chose submission after demonstration of our technological superiority. Those who resisted were subjugated regardless. Your species appears intelligent enough to choose the less painful option." As the conversation continued, Dr. Okafor quietly signaled to Maya that she was detecting linguistic patterns suggesting extreme arrogance and rigid hierarchical thinking from the aliens. "We understand," Maya replied carefully. "However, our protocols require me to consult with Earth's governing council before agreeing to any boarding. Perhaps we could arrange a meeting between your representatives and ours on neutral ground." The alien's expression shifted in what might have been confusion or annoyance. "Your primitive governance structures are irrelevant to hegemony protocols. You will comply or face immediate consequences. You have 6 standard cycles to prepare your system's leadership for evaluation." After the transmission ended, the bridge remained silent for several seconds. "Options?" Maya asked her senior staff. Torres spoke first. "Their technology is clearly superior, but their attitude suggests vulnerability. They're overconfident." "Agreed," said Lieutenant Commander Hiroshi Yamamoto, tactical officer. "They're not even attempting to mask their capabilities. Either they're incredibly arrogant or trying to intimidate us with a show of force." "Both, most likely," Dr. Okafor added. "Their communication patterns suggest a species that hasn't faced serious resistance in a very long time. They seem to follow rigid protocols, almost algorithmic in their responses." Maya nodded. "Send everything to Earth Command. Full analysis, tactical assessments, and recommendations. In the meantime, we maintain position and diplomatic stance." Within 12 hours, Earth's United Military Command had mobilized. Every military vessel in the system, all 28 of them, was placed on high alert. Civilian ships were evacuated from potential conflict zones, and emergency preparations began across all colonies. Admiral Helena Chen, Maya's mother and the commander of Earth's Defense Forces, coordinated the response from Strategic Command in Geneva. Unlike the hegemony, humans didn't reveal their full strategic thinking. "Maya," Admiral Chen said during their secure communication, "your analysis has been invaluable. Earth's Council has unanimously rejected their demand for integration." "They won't take that well," Maya replied. Her mother's expression was grim. "No, they won't. But their arrogance gives us an advantage. Dr. Singh's team has been analyzing the sensor data you sent. Their ships emit distinct energy signatures that suggest a vulnerability in their shield systems. You're planning to fight rather than submit." "We're planning to survive," the Admiral corrected. "If they're as advanced as they appear, capitulation would mean the end of human autonomy. We've seen this before in our own history." 3 days later, a small fleet of 3 hegemony vessels approached Mars colony, evidently intending to demonstrate their power against humanity's largest off-Earth settlement. They hadn't bothered with stealth or complex maneuvers, clearly expecting minimal resistance. They were met by 5 human vessels, the Resilient among them, positioned in what appeared to be a standard defensive formation. What the hegemony didn't know was that these ships had been hastily retrofitted with experimental phase shift technology based on the analysis of the aliens' energy signatures. "All ships, maintain position," Maya ordered from the Resilience bridge. "Remember, they expect us to either flee or engage conventionally. Do neither." The lead hegemony vessel, twice the size of the others, opened communications. "Your resistance is noted and rejected," Zelthrix announced. "This colony will serve as an example of the futility of defiance." As the alien ships charged their weapons, the human vessels initiated their adapted shield systems. When the hegemony fired, their energy beams struck the human shields, and instead of causing damage, the energy was partially absorbed and reflected back in precisely calculated patterns. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The reflected energy created cascading disruptions across the hegemony vessel's systems, causing their weapons to falter and communications to fragment. "It's working," Lieutenant Chen exclaimed. "Their shields are fluctuating at a 43% reduction rate." "All ships, execute Maneuver Tango 7, Maya commanded. The human vessels broke formation, executing maneuvers that would have been considered reckless by conventional military doctrine. They darted between the much larger hegemony ships, using the aliens' own bulk against them. The Resilient swooped beneath the lead vessel, deploying specialized disruptor mines designed to amplify the shield vulnerabilities. Aboard the hegemony command ship, Zelthrix watched in disbelief as the primitive human vessels moved with unexpected coordination and effectiveness. The smaller vessels shouldn't have been able to withstand even a single volley from hegemony weapons, yet here they were, not only surviving but actively countering their attacks. Impossible, the sub-commander muttered as another system's failure alert blared through the command center. After 23 minutes of engagement, the unthinkable happened. One of the smaller hegemony vessels, its navigation systems compromised by the reflected energy patterns, collided with the command ship's lower section. Both vessels sustained significant damage. "This cannot be," Zelthrix hissed. "Retreat and regroup. Summon the main battle fleet." As the damaged hegemony ships withdrew, cheers erupted across the human fleet. But Maya knew this was only the beginning. "All ships, stand down to condition yellow," she ordered. "This wasn't a victory, just a successful test of our defenses. They'll be back, and in greater numbers." She opened a channel to Earth Command. "Admiral, Phase 1 complete. The shield modulation worked better than expected, but they'll adapt. We need to prepare for a full-scale assault." Her mother's face appeared on the screen, expression both proud and concerned. "Well done, Commander. You've bought us precious time. The Council has authorized Operation Porcupine. Full specifications are being transmitted now." Maya studied the incoming data, a slow smile spreading across her face. The hegemony had no idea what they had awakened. Humanity had faced extinction-level threats throughout its history, from ice ages to plagues to its own nuclear weapons. Each time, humans had survived through adaptability, creativity, and sheer stubborn determination. The hegemony of the infinite suns was about to learn why underestimating humanity was their first and possibly final mistake. Unconventional warfare and victory. The main hegemony battle fleet arrived exactly as Earth Command had predicted. 17 massive warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system, their appearance heralded by gravitational distortions that Earth's improved sensor network detected immediately. Admiral Helena Chen stood before the assembled fleet commanders, her holographic image transmitted simultaneously to 38 human vessels, now stationed throughout strategic points in the solar system. "The hegemony fleet has arrived with force that outnumbers and outguns us by conventional metrics," she stated without preamble. "Their technology remains superior in most respects, but as Commander Kwan's engagement proved, they have vulnerabilities we can exploit." The tactical display behind her showed the distribution of human forces, a seemingly random and illogical dispersal that violated every principle of conventional fleet defense. "Operation Porcupine is now in effect," the Admiral continued. "All vessels have received their designated positions and protocols. Remember, we are not fighting their way. We're fighting our way." Aboard the Resilient, positioned near Jupiter's turbulent atmosphere, Maya reviewed her ship's role in the coming battle. The massive gas giant would serve as both cover and weapon in their strategy. "Status report," she requested, moving between stations on the bridge. "All systems nominal," Executive Officer Torres reported. "Shield modifications at 97% efficiency. Atmosphere harvesting equipment is online and ready." "The fleet is in position," Lieutenant Commander Yamamoto added. "Shadow Group Alpha is hidden within the asteroid belt as planned." Maya nodded, studying the tactical display. The hegemony vessels were advancing in perfect geometric formation, a hexagonal pattern with larger ships protected at the center. Their movement was precise, disciplined, and utterly predictable. "They still think we're going to engage them conventionally," she observed. "Prepare atmospheric harvesting. Stand by for Maneuver Omega on my mark." The hegemony fleet moved deeper into the solar system, their sensors scanning for human vessels. High Admiral Velcorax, newly arrived to take personal command after the embarrassing setback at Mars, stood imperiously on his command deck. Primitive defenses, he dismissively told his officers. They achieved temporary success through unexpected tactics, but our adjusted protocols will prevent such anomalies. Locate their fleet and eliminate their resistance. High Admiral, a sensor officer reported. Human vessels detected near the large gas planet. 4 ships holding position. Velcorax's 6 eyes narrowed. Only 4. Where is the remainder of their fleet? Unknown, High Admiral. Sensor readings are inconsistent due to radiation interference from the gas giant. A primitive attempt at concealment, Velcorax decided. Battle Group 3, advance and eliminate those vessels. The rest will continue toward their home world. 3 hegemony warships broke formation, accelerating toward Jupiter, where the Resilient and 3 other human vessels waited. As they approached, the human ships made no attempt to flee or engage. They simply maintained position at the edge of Jupiter's upper atmosphere. They're within range, Yamamoto reported. Commence Maneuver Omega, Maya ordered. The 4 human vessels suddenly descended into Jupiter's atmosphere, using specialized shields designed to withstand the massive pressure and turbulence. The hegemony ships, following in pursuit, encountered something unexpected. Massive eruptions of harvested hydrogen and helium, compressed and ignited to create devastating waves of plasma that engulfed their vessels. Their shields are failing, Chen called out over the roar of Jupiter's atmosphere buffeting the Resilient. The atmospheric density is magnifying the disruptive effect by 300%. 2 of the hegemony ships, their systems overwhelming, plunged deeper into Jupiter's embrace, crushed by the enormous pressure. The 3rd, severely damaged, attempted to retreat, only to be ambushed by 2 human vessels that had remained hidden behind one of Jupiter's moons. Throughout the solar system, similar scenarios unfolded as humanity's forces refused to engage in traditional space combat. In the asteroid belt, mining ships retrofitted with military technology used their specialized knowledge of the terrain to lead hegemony vessels into carefully planned ambushes. Near Venus, research vessels utilized the planet's corrosive atmosphere as cover for surprise attacks. 6 hours into the battle, the unthinkable had happened. The mighty hegemony fleet had lost 7 ships, with 5 more severely damaged, while destroying only 3 human vessels. High Admiral Velcorax could not comprehend the unfolding disaster. How were they coordinating these attacks? Their formations make no tactical sense. High Admiral, his second-in-command, ventured cautiously. The humans appear to be fighting as individual units rather than as a coordinated fleet. Each vessel commander seems to make independent tactical decisions based on local conditions. Impossible, Velcorax thundered. No effective military force operates without central command and control. Yet the evidence was undeniable. The human vessels ignored conventional tactics, refusing to mass their forces or engage directly. Instead, they struck from unexpected vectors, used environmental hazards as weapons, and deployed technologies specifically designed to exploit hegemony vulnerabilities. As the battle entered its 2nd day, Admiral Chen implemented the next phase of Operation Porcupine. Dr. Eliza Okafor, working with Earth's top cybersecurity experts, had detected patterns in the hegemony's communication protocols, rigid, predictable sequences that could potentially be exploited. The Resilient, having survived its Jupiter gambit, joined with 2 other vessels to approach the hegemony flagship under cover of a targeted electromagnetic pulse that temporarily blinded its sensors. Boarding teams ready, Torres reported, his voice tense but controlled. Maya nodded. Commence operation. Small, stealthy craft departed from the human vessels, carrying elite teams of Marines equipped with specialized gear designed to interface with hegemony technology. Their mission was audacious: to infiltrate the flagship and upload a virus designed to exploit the rigid patterns in the aliens' command and control systems. Captain Leila Rodriguez led the main boarding team, guiding her craft through the momentary sensor blindness toward an access port identified from earlier battle data. As they attached to the massive alien vessel, she checked her team one last time. "Remember, we have 19 minutes before their systems recalibrate," she reminded them. In and out, by the numbers. The team breached the hull and moved swiftly through the alien corridors. They encountered surprisingly little resistance. The hegemony, so confident in their technological superiority, had devoted minimal resources to internal security. "Central data node located," reported Specialist Jackson, the team's tech expert. "Beginning upload." The virus, designed by Earth's best programmers, targeted the fundamental protocols of the hegemony command structure. Rather than attempting to seize control directly, it introduced subtle inconsistencies into the chain of command, creating conflicting orders, misinterpreted directives, and system malfunctions that appeared to come from legitimate sources. As the boarding team extracted, the effects were already beginning. Across the hegemony fleet, confusion spread as vessels received contradictory commands. Weapons fired at phantom targets. Shields fluctuated as power was diverted to non-essential systems. High Admiral Velcorax watched in mounting horror as his perfect military machine began to tear itself apart. "This cannot be happening," he whispered, 6 eyes blinking rapidly in distress. "The hegemony is perfect. Our systems are infallible." "High Admiral," his second-in-command reported, 3 more vessels have suffered critical malfunctions. We've lost contact with battle groups 2 and 4. The humans are exploiting the confusion to press their attacks." For the first time in his long career, Velcorax felt something unfamiliar: doubt. The humans, these primitives with their inferior technology and chaotic tactics, had somehow unraveled the precise military discipline that had conquered 47 stellar civilizations. 26 hours after the virus deployment, the unthinkable happened. High Admiral Velcorax, facing mounting losses and unable to restore effective command and control, ordered a general retreat. The remaining hegemony vessels, disorganized and demoralized, abandoned the solar system. On the bridge of the Resilient, Maya watched the enemy fleet depart with a mixture of relief and wariness. "They're really leaving," Torres said, disbelief evident in his voice. "For now," Maya cautioned. "We bloodied their nose, but an empire of their size won't simply accept defeat." A communication alert sounded, and Admiral Chen's face appeared on the main screen. Despite her professional demeanor, Maya could see the pride in her mother's eyes. "Commander Quan, all fleet captains," the Admiral addressed them. "Preliminary reports indicate the hegemony forces have withdrawn beyond Neptune's orbit and continue to accelerate away from our system. While we must remain vigilant, I believe congratulations are in order." Cheers erupted across the bridge, the crew's professionalism momentarily giving way to emotional release after days of tension. "What happens now?" Maya asked once the celebration subsided. Her mother's expression grew serious. "We've received a transmission from a previously unknown source. It appears there are other species who have been monitoring the hegemony's expansion with concern. Our victory, unexpected as it was, has drawn their attention." "First contact with potential allies?" Dr. Okafor asked, excitement evident in her voice. "Potentially," Admiral Chen confirmed. "They call themselves the Concordance of Free Worlds, species who have maintained independence from the hegemony through various means. They proposed a diplomatic meeting." Maya smiled. From potential conquest to galactic diplomacy in 1 week. Not bad for a primitive species. 3 weeks later, representatives from Earth met with delegates from 7 other spacefaring civilizations aboard a neutral vessel at the edge of the solar system. The human delegation, led by Admiral Chen with Maya and Dr. Okafor as key advisors, entered galactic politics not as supplicants but as equals, a species that had done what many thought impossible: successfully repelled a hegemony invasion. "The hegemony has dominated this sector for millennia," explained Trelnar, a representative from a crystalline species called the Virushan. "Many believe resistance was impossible. Your methods, unconventional, adaptable, individual, offered new possibilities. Humans have always been good at finding unusual solutions to overwhelming problems, Maya replied. It's kind of our specialty. As the diplomatic talks continued, Earth began preparing for the future. The technology captured and adapted from the hegemony vessels accelerated human development by decades. New ships were designed with the lessons learned from the recent conflict, emphasizing flexibility, adaptability, and independence. The hegemony would return someday. Empires rarely accepted defeat gracefully. But when they did, humanity would be ready. And this time, they wouldn't be alone. On the observation deck of the newly commissioned ESV Defiance, Maya stood beside her mother, watching as workers completed the installation of advanced shield generators derived from both hegemony and concordance technology. The hegemony made a fundamental error, Admiral Chen observed. They saw our technological limitations, but failed to recognize our greatest strength. Maya nodded. They expected us to fight like them, rigidly, predictably, collectively. They never imagined a military force that empowers individual commanders to make battlefield decisions. Humanity's greatest advantage has always been our adaptability, her mother agreed. We don't just survive challenges, we learn from them and emerge stronger. As they watched the Earth fleet growing in size and capability, both women knew that humanity's place in the galaxy had been forever changed. The species that the hegemony had dismissed as barely worthy of notice had demonstrated why underestimating humans was a mistake no advanced civilization should make twice. In the vast emptiness of space, Earth prepared for whatever would come next, not with fear, but with the confidence of a species that had faced extinction countless times throughout its history and always, somehow, found a way to survive and thrive against the odds. The hegemony of the infinite suns had learned what many others would come to understand. Humans don't bow to empires. They break them.